Alrighty, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning. Alright, let's go through these charts, guys. Alright, guys, so let's start breaking these charts down on these hourlies and build our watch list, see what we see. First off, happy birthday, AMG Mike.
Happy birthday.
It's his birthday in the house. So, yes, sir. So let's get some money and let's get out of here today. Let's make some money and run.
Take your money and run.
So Apple here, guys, is at an interesting point, right? That 441, 440-ish. It's going to be interesting. Does have a lot of, buyers that came in that 437 started picking this up. This Apple's tough. I don't know if it's ready for a move or if it's just ready, to push into maybe 446 and then curl right back down. So nothing here I like too much. Unless off the open we see a strong market, and obviously we do build these 443s and we can just follow a slow trend into that 450. But you guys can see how it's just really not, a great aggressive setup. Amazon here kind of doing the same thing, right? We were kind of mid-channel for a long time. We could see a lot of these things aren't selling off, but they're slowly moving back into trend, right? So this is slowly just fading, no active buyers, nothing there. Now Boeing and Goldman Sachs has gone nuts, so I will try to look at those, potentially follow the money flow here. But these would just be extremely aggressive quick trades, right? If I'm going to take this, I would go long some at like 184. Boom, hope we get that 189 move and be out, right? Here's my 3 points of interest for how I would trade this on a 15-minute hourly chart. So, right, obviously if we broke under this 183.22, I don't want to be there, right? We want to push. So maybe over 185, if we have a strong market, I'll trade that. But looking at Apple, Amazon, and Boeing, it's not like they're super strong, trending stocks here that have, money flow. It's not what we're looking at. So it's very difficult because there is no money flow in this market. And then BABA, you can see it's just kind of hanging out in its range. Doesn't really want to go anywhere. Do I want to trade this low 250s, try to push 254? No. You have BIDU going opposite direction. Right, if that gets under that 125, that can break this trend and get nasty. So, BABA, BIDU, I'm just going to stay away from those names completely. Now, this is what's really interesting, is this BYND. I really want to see if this thing can finally get above 130 and build something. But as you guys can see, it's just in this super long downtrend, right? And again, we're just, instead of having an aggressive push back into 130, what's happening? We're just slowly sideways fading right back, right? Maybe we just stay sideways and then we drop the 126 and move to 120. So it's just looking at how we're going to react into these trends. Chipotle, just light in the water. The only thing I'm going to do with Chipotle ever is just trade some premium. Now, this Facebook is interesting. I am looking at this potentially to go into 260. Now, 260 is going to be my level where it's basically do or die. So if we see this build 260s, I'll like this and I'll probably take a potential long off this trend. But if we do not build that 260 and we just start curling basically like what it's looking like right now, then definitely looks like, something to buy a put or sell some calls here. As we reject that 260, we can easily move, right? We have a 6 to 8 point move into that 252. Probably even that 251 before we really see some buyers. So this does look good, this Facebook. We'll see, we'll watch these levels. So I'm gonna put this on my main watch. But again, it's tough, guys. There's not too much happening. Goog here, you can see is kind of flagging. This potentially, okay, maybe something, if we can start building these 1500s, this may be something we want. If the market's showing any sort of strength, right? Goldman Sachs, that's what's pushed the market, right? Now, if this slowly starts fading, what's going to happen, guys? Right? We start pulling back into these 210s is like what it needs to do. What's that going to do to SPY and the rest of this market? So just understand that. Netflix here, I'm kind of watching it as well. It's kind of got its back up against a wall, right? Meaning it's either going to keep selling here and they're just going to unload this thing, or it's going to push back up and they're going to save this thing with everything they got. So I'm going to focus here. I definitely think it has range. Obviously, I would love to see this thing just sell from 466 to 450. But probably the way that I'll trade this is I will let this spike, guys. And probably going to look to just sell some calls. Look to sell some 500 calls, and then whether it spikes or bounce, just let that theta. I shouldn't say 500 calls. We'll see what the option market gives us. But whatever the option market gets us, that would be the smarter move, is just to sell some calls there. Okay, so as we get into these indexes, I want to break these down a little bit more. Okay, so Qs. Where are we at on Qs, guys? Daily chart. We've been in a downtrend these last few days, right? Hit that 275, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a downtrend. Now, look how it's wanting to pull back to this magnet at that 261-ish, right? A lot of buyers off that 261. So what I'm wondering on this hourly chart is what's gonna happen. Is this thing gonna, does it really want to reach these 260s, these lower 260s, or do we want to spike up and then get slammed right back down? So this isn't pretty, right? Nothing here is pretty about this QQQ. To trade this, there's really no range at this moment to the downside or to the upside. So the index is a little bit worrisome. They're not helping us out too much. So it's majorly just reminds me that, hey, let's follow the money flow. And see where the money flow is, because the market's not going to help us here directly, especially with what's happening with Goldman Sachs. And then same thing here with SPY, right? We try to go for all-time highs. Nope. Pulled back. And now look, what's happening in this pullback, guys? Are we going to pull back, or are we just going to kind of go sideways, sit at this 323, and then eventually, as it's built for long enough, boom, we push over this and we break those highs? What is the move, right? So we're trying to read that sentiment. In my opinion, I'm looking at this SPY and I'm saying, wow, it looks like it's actually starting a downtrend here, right? If anything. And it looks like SPY just wants to come back down to this 323. It may bounce around in this channel a lot, right? So this right here is where newer traders are getting ruined, right? You have a couple aggressive days and then the market goes to no range whatsoever. There's no edge here. I have no idea if the market's going up or going down. There's no correlation. There's no read. There's no money flow. There's nothing. So today's going to be a different animal. Very, very, very quick profits. I mean, 7-8%ers, take them. Do not expect to make 20-30% trades today at all. Do not expect that. Today is a day just to try to survive, and a day just to try to make some cash flow and hope this market can make some big moves and give us something. Okay, so I'm going to trade here 3 more minutes. I will walk you guys through what I'm going through. So let's do it. Let's have some fun here, guys.
Yes, let's do it.
Danny's watching Roku. 152.50. I like it. Again, Danny, you are going into a downtrend, and then you can see there's not too crazy amount of buyers at 154. It's not like they're real excited. So going for that trade, see how it works, but definitely seems a little bit resistance. You're pushing into where they're going to potentially reshort it, but at the same time, if they don't potentially reshort it, this can be a good trade. Now, just manage your risk, right? Watch these flags. That's tough, though. I'll watch that. Microsoft, I don't like either because it's just going right back into a downtrend. So I don't want to add liquidity to sellers. Does that make sense, guys? I do not want to add liquidity to sellers when into those levels. They can take advantage of us here. 500 call. Let's do it, guys. Any questions in the trading floor? RA and YouTube, let us know.